I just. I feel the need to sit and talk. I'm not sure about what. I just feel the need to sit and talk. It's. I want to let something out, but I don't know where to begin. So, I guess you just kind of say whatever is lurking at the edges of your mind. I've been thinking a lot. I've been um, attempting to examine and re examine myself, who I am, where I've been, why I do what I do, because I figure that way I might be able to further my understanding of myself and therefore my world, because the world is largely what you experience in it. The world your world is largely dictated by your perception of reality. There is also a subjective and objective reality. Objective reality is harder to define, though, because our observations are subjective. Therefore, what somebody sees is going to be different from what somebody else sees. So, how do you define what is real? Usually by drawing comparisons between things and getting other people's viewpoints. Well, I'm trying to gather a specific viewpoint. I'm trying to gather a specific set of viewpoints. These points of data that should be aligning on a chart and see if there's any correlation. Although correlation does not equal causation, just because we do live in a causal reality. Correlations are still useful, even if they're not always necessarily objectively true. But perhaps there's an underlying factor that influences the subjective. And by figuring out what that is, which in this case is probably an altered state of being leading to a different perception, we should more fully be able to understand what's going on. Is this just the definition of research? Trying to use subjective reality to form a viewpoint on objective reality? Because if so, that would make a lot of sense. Anyway, I want to do research, and since I've not entirely been certain how, I've been instead doing it my own way, and I don't know if it works, and I don't know if it's true or if it's provable, because I have shockingly few compatriots that I trust. And also, I was going over with another person that nobody ever really fully gets the whole story, as it were. The multiple people that I know get multiple parts of the story, and then their understanding of it is different from the understanding of another person who has a different part of it. I think that might end up leading towards a viewpoint that is more skewed. And I'm trying to be more truthful. I want to stop lying to myself and to others. And a half-truth, or an incomplete truth, is arguably one of the most horrible lies, because it's one of the easiest ones to get away with. It seems to impact the least, though it has the largest impacts most of the time. It leads to people seeking evidence that supports their thesis rather than objective truth. And ultimately, it ends up being the thing that I am the most guilty of, is not telling the full story for what it is, because I'm afraid. Because I'm afraid of hearing the truth. The truth has been something that I've been rediscovering lately, and it has taken my entire being to incorporate it, while at the same time I just want to function. like a normal human again. And I'm at the point where everything feels forced. And it's one of those things where you're condemned if you do, condemned if you don't, because, well, you could fall back to the old reality where I'm more comfortable and therefore more likable because I get to seem more like myself, or I can attack this new version of reality, face it head on, suppress all the urges that used to be me in an attempt to understand what I actually am versus what comes out subconsciously. And what am I? Is there a thing that is the me, that is an objectively better me than the thing that I am trying to rally against? Is there a me inside me that is better than the me that has been at the forefront causing damage to people, myself included? And I think that at this point in time, one person has an answer to this that I didn't have, and I've been relying on them, and I feel guilty for doing so. Cat, get out of my laundry. 1 second. My cat decided to pee on the freshly cleaned laundry, so now it needs to be washed again. Exciting. Those are the little idiosyncrasies. I'm wondering, okay, everything seems to be correlated. And, hold on. What was I saying? Right. Everything appears to be correlated, and I'm wondering how much of that is real and things that only possibly I can see, and how much of it is my mind trying to tell me something that isn't necessarily true is true. Where does reality come from? What is reality? And that's a complicated thing. That's a complicated thing because it's something that changes all the time, so it's hard to define. So, I can see a set of changes on the horizon, and other people can see changes on the horizon as well. Does that mean that there is a correlation between us? Is this a causal change, a reality of why do I see things the way I see them? Well, that's perspective. Why is my perspective the way it is? Well, the things that have happened to me. Who is responsible for mediating these things? I am. Well, then, who am I? Because I don't know anymore. I've been re-examining myself and trying to burn away all the damaged parts. Not necessarily damaged, but all the ones that are not useful. And it's hard, first off, but also it is scary because I feel like I don't know who I am anymore. I want to be somebody that the person that I know who is encouraging me to change and grow and face myself. I want to be the person that they first met, but at the same time I want to be the better person too, and I think that they understand where I'm coming from, and they want to encourage the growth, the true me to come out, rather than the one that has been damaged and hiding and has been the cause for all the burdens in my life because I've been too weak to acknowledge myself. I've been too afraid to become strong. I think that this is a heading towards an objective truth. As hard as it is. As much as I want to fight against it, as much as myself wants to fight against me to stop me from doing this, I think this is what is for the best.